Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and you hear that sound? That's the sound of rich people. That's the sound of the 1%. The 1% who can go out and buy a pair of AirPods 2 with the wireless charging case included. That's right, AirPods 2 are finally here, and there are a lot of talk about this product, mostly disappointment from people on social media talking about how they were hoping that AirPods 2 would bring along a lot more features other than the improvements that Apple mentioned, including Hey Siri support, faster connection times, better audio calls and faster audio calls, and lower latency, and of course the wireless charging case that was promised with the release of AirPower. But unlike AirPower, you can actually go into an Apple store today and purchase a pair of AirPods 2. So let's go ahead and unbox this thing and kind of maybe give some first impressions to see if this maybe is a worthy upgrade from the first generation of AirPods. Okay, and as you can see, we have a regular kind of AirPods box. They kind of look very similar to the last AirPods box that Apple put out there. You can see you have the two AirPods on the front. You go ahead and rotate this a little bit, you can see the Apple logo, and most importantly, if you rotate it on its side, you can see that this says AirPods wireless charging case. So this is the second generation of AirPods with the wireless charging case included. Now you can buy this without the wireless charging case included. The wireless charging case is going to retail for $199, but if you buy it without it, you're still getting the second generation of AirPods, and it's going to cost $159, and you could just charge that with a standard lightning port. And if you flip over the back of the box, you can see what the product looks like with the AirPods in the case, and you can see that green little dot indicating that this is the wireless charging model. They place that green dot on the front of the AirPods case this time. That way, if you plop it down on a wireless charger, you get a nice indicator light to let you know that the AirPods are charging. And because AirPower doesn't exist, even though the box says that it works with AirPower, this will work with any Qi wireless charger. So let's go ahead and open the box up. Now the first thing you're going to see on top is this documentation talking about AirPods 2 and all of the new features that you can do with it. And then of course, if you skip that, you get some other documentation, actually a lot of documentation explaining the regulatory and information about AirPods that I don't think most users are going to read, so let's just skip through that. And now once you clear that documentation, you can see AirPods 2 right on the top of the box. So we can peel off the plastic on this AirPods 2 case, and you can see that the AirPods case is very, very similar to the first generation of AirPods, except of course for that charging indicator light on the front of it. I'm also noticing just handling this AirPods case that it's kind of a little bit heavier, ever so slightly. The case is heavier. I'm guessing that's because it has a wireless charger on the back of it. But yeah, if you're comparing it to the AirPods 1 case, just ever so slightly a little bit more heft to it. Now, if you lift this part of the case up, you'll also see that it comes with a lightning cable, and this is because you can also charge the AirPods 2 with the included lightning cable. If you don't have a Qi wireless charger and maybe you were waiting for AirPower, you still have the old option to charge it with a cable. On the back of the AirPods case, you can see there's kind of a little indentation for a little button there, and you can always activate that if you're having trouble connecting these to an iPhone or an iPad or a Mac, even though on the iPhone and iPad they are supposed to connect automatically as soon as you open up the case. So let's go ahead and do just that by grabbing my iPhone and this pair of AirPods, and let's see how easy it is to connect them. Let's see if the experience is any different than the first generation set. And as I open up the AirPods 2, you can see you're greeted with the same exact startup screen as you would if you had the first generation AirPods, and then all you do is just tap connect, and the AirPods instantly connect to your iOS device. That is really simple to use. And you can see just how fast that little information comes up with your AirPods charging case and your AirPods battery as you flip it open. It just happens kind of instantly. You can just keep flipping it open, and it's kind of addicting. As you flip open the AirPod case, you hear that nice little click as you close it. If you open up the case, of course, you have the right and left AirPod inside of it. If you take those out, you can kind of see that the design is pretty much the same, I guess exactly the same as the first generation AirPods. There aren't any external changes that I'm noticing. noticing, and Apple didn't mention any, so I'm guessing there aren't any to mention. So here is my first generation pair of AirPods compared to the AirPods 2 case. Like I said, there really aren't many changes here between the cases. The one thing I did notice with the case was that it was heavier and that the hinge has been redesigned on the second generation of AirPods, kind of has a more brushed aluminum look to the stainless steel look on the first generation AirPod case. But as you can see, the exteriors of these cases are mostly unchanged, and the only difference is that this is the wireless charging case, so it does have that light on the front of it, but if you got the regular AirPods without the wireless charging case, it would look exactly the same. But in terms of dimensions, it doesn't look like the wireless case is any bulkier or thicker to add that Qi wireless charger. So if you were worried about that, maybe you already have an AirPods case and you're worried that the second generation wouldn't fit in it, I really wouldn't worry about that. In fact, let us take a look at something from our sponsor, Monoware. This is a case for the AirPods. Let's go ahead and see if that fits into the second generation case. And look, it fits like a glove in that Monoware leather case. And if you guys want to purchase this, there will be a promo code for 15% off. In fact, 15% off for the entire Monoware store in case you want something like this cool Apple Watch band. Okay, let's see how this wireless charging case works once it's all connected. So I have a wireless charger here, and if we just take our AirPods and plop them down, they start charging. Look at that. So if we open up the iPhone and go over to the battery widget, we can see that if we take our AirPods 2 with the wireless charging case, we put them on, you can see that it starts charging. If we take them off, obviously it stops charging. So, you know, there you go. AirPods finally have the ability to wireless charge, even if we don't have AirPower. Okay, so let's actually try and use these AirPods 2 for a second, because one of the big questions that people are asking is if these have any improvements in sound quality, and I really do want to test that out to see just how much of an improvement or if there's any improvement to these things. Okay, so I'm listening to a song on the AirPods 2, and it's a little hard to tell if these actually sound any better. I'm gonna say there is a slight improvement in the sound. It's a little noticeable. The sound sounds a little bit cleaner, and maybe that has something to do with the new H1 chip and the new Bluetooth 5.0. Maybe it's sending over a stronger or more reliable connection that's slightly improving the audio, even if the speakers inside of the AirPods themselves aren't changed. Okay, so I'm gonna do something a little unorthodox. I'm gonna play the same song from my iPad and my iPhone with my first generation AirPods in one of my ear and the new second generation AirPods in the other ear. Okay, and as I play the song, I still say there is a very slight difference between the second generation and the first generation of AirPods. Now that could be to that stronger Bluetooth connection with the H1 chip, or it could even come down to something else like the battery degradation on my first generation of AirPods, or maybe even something gross like maybe some wax is blocking some of the sound on the first generation of AirPods, and these newer ones are kind of newer so they don't have anything gross inside of them. So I don't know, it's very hard for me to tell if this is a sound improvement. I would really need a first generation brand new AirPods and a brand new second generation AirPods to really give you a definitive answer if the sound is better. Now, one of the other claims with the second generation of AirPods is that it's going to lead to faster connection times when you're switching between devices. So if you have an iPhone and an iPad and you want to use your AirPods on your iPad and they were previously connected to your iPhone, supposedly it is going to be a 50% faster connection. So let's go ahead and test that, because that is one of my biggest complaints with the current generation of AirPods. So you can see we have the iPad set up and the iPhone set up, and currently the AirPods are connected to the iPhone. So now we're going to switch them over to the iPad. And if you are an owner of the previous generation of AirPods, this is something you notice because the switching is faster. So if you are constantly switching between devices, I know I certainly am, that might be something you want to consider with AirPods 2. It is a slightly better experience. One of the other features with AirPods 2 is that it has Hey S-word support. So let's go ahead and test that out. So the Hey Siri command works pretty well. Now, one of the things I did notice is that the Siri voice inside of the AirPods is really improved over the first generation. That was one of the new benefits that they touted, and it sounds really crisp and clear, where on the first generation of AirPods, the Siri voice sounded really low quality. And I know Siri itself gets a bad rap, but this is a pretty good feature, especially for people who are working out, maybe they're lifting weights, they have their hands full, they want to skip to a music track, they want to raise the volume, then you don't have to use your hands. So the AirPods 2 have the same exact listening battery life as the first generation of AirPods, which is 5 hours, and the case can charge them up to an additional 24 hours. However, with the new H1 chip inside of AirPods 2, you do get increased talk time from 1.5 hours all the way up to 3 hours, a 50% improvement, and that is substantial for someone who uses AirPods to talk a lot on the phone. I'm really thinking I'm going to be looking forward to those battery life improvements. All right, everyone, and that is going to do it for this video. Again, not a full review of this product, just an unboxing and first impressions of the second generation of AirPods 2. And it's kind of hard to draw a conclusion on them just from this short time with them. I'm really going to need to spend a lot more time testing out the switching between devices, seeing if it's more reliable, testing the sound quality on a bunch of different music tracks, using the Hey S-word support when I'm doing some other tasks, making sure that is reliable. And also other things I didn't test in this video, like apparently these have reduced latency, and especially reduced latency in gaming. So I'm going to have to test a lot of things before I do my full review on this product. But hopefully for you eager buyers and people who are rushing out to buy them, hopefully you guys learned something from this video, or this video helped you out in a lot of ways. And if it did, you can leave a like on this video. And if you want to see more content, including a full review of these AirPods, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you're interested in that monoware case, or again, any other product on monoware. You can save 15%. Also, be sure to let me know what questions you would like addressed in a full review of the AirPods 2. Let me know if you're planning on picking up the AirPods 2, what feature you're most excited for. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.